Have you ever stood in front of someone you cared about, knowing you wanted to take things deeper, but your heart was pounding so hard you could hear it in your ears? And here's the question that matters. What if the way you ask for intimacy has nothing to do with charm or smooth talk and everything to do with how you understand yourself? Hey, before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and watch until the end because what you're about to learn isn't just about asking for intimacy. It's about transforming the way you connect with someone forever. This could genuinely change your love life. I want to tell you a story. It's not about pickup lines, not about grand gestures, and not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about something Marcus Aurelius understood nearly 2,000 years ago, and how that wisdom quietly carries the most powerful psychological trick you'll ever use in intimacy. It begins in Rome, though our story isn't set there. Rome is just the echo. The man at the center of our story, let's call him Daniel, wasn't a philosopher, a soldier, or an emperor. He was an ordinary man living in a noisy, restless modern city. Daniel had been seeing Clara for months. She was intelligent, independent, the kind of woman who carried herself like she had her own orbit. He liked her laugh. He liked the way her eyes softened when she listened. But the thing he was wrestling with wasn't whether he liked her. It was whether he had the courage to tell her what he truly wanted. He'd been here before. In the past, he'd either rushed too quickly and ruined the connection, or waited so long that the spark slipped through his fingers. But with Clara, he didn't want to guess. He didn't want to try his luck. He wanted to approach intimacy in a way that was authentic, respectful, and if possible, irresistible. One night, frustrated with his own overthinking, he stumbled across a passage from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. At first, it didn't seem to have anything to do with his situation. But then it hit him. The most powerful way to approach intimacy isn't about persuading the other person. It's about aligning your desire with your integrity. Daniel began to realize something profound. The psychological trick wasn't manipulation, it was clarity. Most men, when they think of asking for intimacy, think of the moment, the right words, the perfect atmosphere, the romantic cue. But Marcus Aurelius would tell you that the most powerful preparation happens before you speak. When you strip away fear, neediness, and pretense, and you understand your own mind. So Daniel started with himself. He asked, "Why do I want this?" The easy answer was attraction. But attraction alone wasn't enough. He thought about the way Clara made him feel safe being vulnerable. He thought about how she challenged his opinions without making him defensive. The more he reflected, the clearer it became. Intimacy for him wasn't just physical, it was about deepening the connection they'd already built. This is the first hidden lesson Marcus Aurelius might give. When your reasons are clear, your request is confident without being pushy, you stop looking for permission and start inviting the other person into something you already know is valuable. Weeks passed and Daniel practiced what he had read, not with Clara directly, but with himself. He slowed down. He stopped replaying imaginary scenarios in his head where she rejected him. He remembered another line from Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That became his anchor. Whether she said yes, no, or something in between, he decided he would remain grounded. Because the truth was, he wasn't seeking intimacy to prove his worth, he already knew his worth. And here's where the psychological trick deepens. Women respond to a man's energy before they respond to his words. If your request for intimacy is soaked in anxiety or disguised desperation, she'll feel it. If it's grounded in calm certainty, she'll feel that too. The former pushes people away. The latter draws them in. Finally, one evening, they were sitting in her apartment, sipping wine after dinner. The conversation drifted from work to childhood memories, from music to dreams for the future, and Daniel felt that quiet moment arrive. Not the cinematic swell of violins, but a silence that felt alive. In the past, he would have filled that silence with jokes, or blurted something awkward to break the tension. This time he simply breathed and let the pause expand. Clara's eyes met his, steady but questioning. He spoke slowly. I want to tell you something, and I don't want you to feel any pressure from it. I just want to be honest. She tilted her head, curious. I've been thinking about how much I enjoy being close to you, he said. And I want to take that closeness deeper. Not just physically, but in every way. What's important here isn't the exact words. It's the state of mind behind them. Daniel didn't rush. He didn't perform. He simply shared his desire in a way that honored her as much as himself. Clara smiled. Not the polite smile you give when you're trying to be nice, but the warm smile that says, "I hear you." She reached for his hand. "I'm glad you said that," she replied softly. "I feel the same way." In that moment, Daniel understood something Marcus Aurelius had been whispering to him all along. The most persuasive thing you can offer is sincerity rooted in self-control. That's where most men fail. They either let fear keep them silent, or they push too aggressively because they're trying to win something. But if you approach intimacy as a shared step forward rather than a conquest, you dissolve resistance. The psychological trick isn't about changing her mind. It's about showing her that your mind is already clear, your heart steady, and your respect for her unwavering. Weeks after that night, Daniel and Clara were lying on a blanket in the park, watching the city skyline as the sun dipped low. Clara said something he'd never forget. "You know, when you told me you wanted to be closer, it didn't feel like you were taking something from me. It felt like you were inviting me into something beautiful. That's why I said yes so easily." That's when Daniel understood the deepest part of Marcus Aurelius's influence. When your mind is ordered, your words carry truth without force. Let's unpack this as Aurelius might. In meditations, he often reminded himself not to be swayed by the passions of others, not to chase approval, and not to fear outcomes beyond his control. When asking for intimacy, the Stoic application is clear. 1. Do not fear the answer. Fear makes you speak too soon or not at all. 2. Do not chase approval. Your worth doesn't rise or fall based on her response. 3. Do not disguise your intent. Manipulation poisons trust before intimacy can grow. Instead, you ground yourself in what you know to be right and truthful. You make your request not to get validation, but to offer a shared step forward. But here's the subtle, psychological layer most people miss. What Daniel instinctively did that night was create safety. He didn't say, "I want you." He said, "I want us to be closer." He didn't imply a demand. He extended an invitation. Women respond differently when the energy is cooperative rather than competitive. A request for intimacy becomes powerful when it carries an unspoken message. You are safe to say yes, safe to say no, and safe to take your time. And paradoxically, the more safety you create, the more likely intimacy becomes. Daniel's friend Aaron learned this the hard way. Aaron had been dating someone new, Leah, for just a few weeks. He liked her, and he thought they were getting along well. But when he tried to take things further physically, she pulled back. Instead of respecting her pace, Aaron doubled down. He texted more. He complimented her excessively. He tried to prove himself. Leah eventually stopped responding. When Daniel asked Aaron what happened, Aaron shrugged. I guess she just wasn't interested. But Daniel, remembering Marcus Aurelius, saw it differently. Aaron's approach was driven by outcome dependence. His self-esteem hinged on whether Leah said yes. That kind of pressure can be felt, and it erodes trust. So here's the psychological trick in its purest form, straight through the lens of Stoicism. Detach from the outcome, attach to the truth. When you detach from the outcome, you stop acting out of fear. When you attach to the truth, you speak with calm authenticity. This changes your tone, your body language, your timing. And women notice every bit of it, often subconsciously. There's another Aurelius principle that applies here. Amor fati, or love of fate. While it's not a phrase he coined, it's more closely tied to later Stoics and Nietzsche. The spirit is there. In his writings, embrace whatever happens as part of the natural order. Daniel told himself before talking to Clara, if she says yes, we grow closer. If she says no, I still spoke my truth and kept my integrity. Either way, I win. That's not false bravado, that's genuine acceptance. And acceptance is attractive. It tells her you won't crumble under the weight of her answer. Of course, some men fear that being this calm and respectful will make them seem passive, as if women only respond to bold, aggressive moves. But here's the nuance. Stoic calm doesn't mean inaction. It means decisive action without desperation. Daniel still took the step. He didn't wait for Clara to magically read his mind. He led the moment. But his leadership wasn't pushy, it was grounded. Think about it. Two men can say the same exact words. I want to be closer to you. But one says it with nervous, darting eyes, shoulders tense, bracing for rejection. And the other says it while breathing evenly, looking her in the eyes and genuinely prepared for either answer. The words are the same. The state behind them is what changes everything. So how do you get to that state? 1. Self-reflection before action. Ask yourself why you want intimacy with this person. If your answer is shallow, like boredom or conquest, your energy will reveal it. 2. Regulate your emotional state. Practice breathing exercises. Slow down your thoughts. Enter the moment with presence. 3. See intimacy as a shared experience. Shift from getting something to creating something together. 4. Invite, don't impose. Give her space to respond freely. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, stop worrying about how to convince her. Instead, focus on becoming the man whose presence naturally invites intimacy because he is respectful, steady, and sincere. Months after that night, Daniel and Clara still remembered that conversation as a turning point. Not because it was flashy or dramatic, but because it was honest and unpressured. Daniel didn't just get the yes he wanted, he earned deeper trust, which made everything that followed richer. And that really is the ultimate goal. Because here's the truth most dating advice won't tell you. A yes born from pressure feels hollow. A yes born from trust feels like the beginning of something real. So the next time you find yourself in that quiet, charged moment with someone you care about, remember this. Don't try to be clever. Don't try to impress. Calm your mind. Know your reasons. Speak your truth. Invite her into something worth saying yes to. And if she says no, you still walk away with your self-respect intact. And that's the kind of man who never loses. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.